At the end of every year, we do a statue award show about stupid statue awards. It's not necessarily giving out awards to stupid statues, because this statue is not stupid, it's far from it. However, if you remember last year's video, make sure to go check it out because it's awesome. But we did a category for most head sculpts or portraits on a statue, and an Omega Red Custom won with 7. Everyone agreed 7 is way too many, except the creator of this Venom, who gave it 8.
I beg your pardon?
8.
8?
Yes, 8. As the Extreme channel is pushing towards 50,000 subscribers, these are just a few of the statues we are giving away on the journey there. If you want to know how to win one, stay tuned for later in the video. Welcome to the Extreme channel. My name is Mr. X, and probably for the 40th time, it is a custom Venom statue sitting on this table. I love custom statues. I love Venom statues. You put it together and it's like peanut butter and jelly or spaghetti and tuna fish. But I'm very excited to get this piece because it has so many different display options. It's done some stuff that no other custom statue has done before. As you can see, it almost looks like he's going to fall off. There's some dynamic stuff we're going to talk about in the design part of this review today. Because of course that's what we're doing. We review high-end collectibles here. If this looks interesting to you, make sure you've not only hit that like button, but subscribe and that bell notification because we do stuff like this all the time. So if you're a follower of the channel, you know I've been selling off a lot of my collection. I sold a ton of Venom statues about 3 months ago, probably about 20 of them, but I still own about 20 more and I have about 10 more coming in. Will this guy survive the cut? We're going to find out today. Now the reason why I purchased him was simply for what I alluded to. There's some things that this Venom statue did, not just the 8 different portrait options, that no other Venom statue has done, and I really, really appreciate that, and I really like it, and I think it differentiates it from many of the other Venom statues. If you recall my other Venom reviews, there's kind of 3 or 4 things with a Venom statue that you can differentiate it, but then you have to get creative. So really quick, what are some of those big ones? Number 1 is, what is the base? Is it a sewer or the top of a building? Here you can see they went with the latter. 2 is Venom humanoid or creature-esque? This one's a little bit in the middle. We're going to talk more about that. And then the third part are his nails. Are they part of the outfit? Does he actually have toes? We're going to see all that, but let's first start with concept, which is one of the things that makes this incredibly unique. While I said he's on top of the building, and that's nothing new, he's on the edge of the building. Now, part of this I'm going to tie into the design because it's incredibly creative. And I think there's some dynamic stuff there, but part of it ties into the concept as well. The base here is the building. I'm glad there's no sub-base underneath it or museum base, anything like that. And the building could either be an old church or maybe this is somewhere in a cemetery because you do see a Grim Reaper there. There's not a lot of ornate symbols or anything like that. I don't think there's a ton of hidden meaning in this base. I could be completely wrong. I'm not sure why they went with the color choice. We'll look at that closer during paint. But Venom is on top, hunched over, which I really like. This is really reminiscent of Spidey. This is really reminiscent of what Venom did. If you look, he's almost like falling off the edge, and I think that's absolutely fantastic. He's hunched over, hovering over the city, making sure everyone's safe, and looking for dinner at the same time. Because that's what Venom is. He's an anti-hero, so he's a hero who kills bad guys. And they did an incredible job no matter what portrait you look at or display option, because there's other display options besides the portrait. I think the concept's cool. It's a little bit different. I think him sitting on the edge is incredibly unique, and I give him points for that. So I think the concept's a 4 out of 5. It's not totally new, but it is different. I like the throwback to Spidey. I like the position of Venom. I think it looks good. You know, pose is really important to me. Design, so much cool stuff. I didn't even film the unboxing and assembly. Still, we'll show the packaging, partially for you, but partially for me. Whenever I repack a statue, I actually use these videos for reference. So standard custom black foam, 2 different layers. Here's the first layer. Most of it was portraits and tongues. And then the second layer had the body base and a few more of the portraits, as you can see. Now let's look at the 8 different portraits first because I think that's incredibly important. All right, first is this portrait right here. Now really quick, they made it so you could get the 8 different portraits or you could get it like this with no seam line. So if a seam line's an issue to you, then you didn't have to get switch out portraits. But because I did get the switch out portraits, here's the seam line that it produces. It's not the best, but I'm going to display him like this where you won't see it, so I'm not too worried. Now let's dive into the original portrait here. Here he is with his tongue. Now technically, you could remove his tongue. There is a keyhole in the back. Depends how much that bothers you. Next portrait is an Eddie Brock. I like this. We're going to talk more about it in Paint and Sculpt. Then we have an Eddie Brock transformation, which is a new transformation. I've probably seen about 40 transformation portraits. This one's different than them all. I appreciate that. We have a McFarlane with the big jaw. Reminds me of a few other licensed pieces. McFarlane Smile. That's what I call this one. A Bagley. You guys know this is kind of my favorite. Lethal Protector type. Simon Bisley. This is one I've actually never seen before. I've seen it, but I'm not that familiar with it. And of course, you could remove the tongue. Looks like a fucking vampire. And then something no Venom statue to my knowledge has, Jim Lee. That's right, Jim Lee started messing with Venom. This one's cool too. And of course, you could remove the tongue. But again, there are keyholes in there. Now there's one other display option. We're going to check it out. But first we want to measure him. That's important. So the widest point of the top of the base is about 17 inches or so. The deepest part of the base is about 10 inches. And just so you know, the widest part of the bottom base is about 12. Statue's really dusty from the factory. Now, he sticks out another good 9 inches, just so you know. But the tallest part right now is just under 24 inches. Now, if that's too tall for you, here's a quick look at it. You can remove the bottom base. Now, I really appreciate this. However, I think it takes away a lot from the statue. One of my other custom Venoms, one that I touted is the best Venom statue out there, this custom right here, has a similar feature. But that one looks okay without the bottom. And this one will fit in my display cabinet, so I am absolutely okay with that. Now, there was one other part. I have 3 small tendril pieces right here. I don't know where these go. I imagine they went somewhere on the transformation portrait, but I couldn't figure that out. And I spent like 20 seconds trying to figure it out. So design. You do see some of the pegs and keyholes sticking out. I don't know if that's because I don't have it in all the way.
That's what she said.
Or if that's the way it's designed. You can't see it from the front, so either way, I'm okay. And I like it that he's like really on the edge. I give him a lot of points for this right here. One could say too many portraits. I love how dynamic that is. I think the design is also a 4 out of 5. I think one thing I would have liked to see differently is the portraits with the tongues, if they could have somehow had them just be a magnet on the mouth so they'd easily be displayed with or without. And then the other thing I think that would have given this a 5 out of 5, if on the back, or maybe even a separate pedestal, you could display all the portraits, that would have been truly next level. Paint and Sculpt. So one big thing I disagree with, I'm not sure the direction of the green here, but otherwise I think they did a pretty good job, and there's some really fantastic stuff as well. Check it out. Best thing is to start in with the portraits because there's so much to go over. I think the Eddie Brock looks solid. A little more tan than I want to, almost a little bit more... I don't know. It's something. He looks like someone from a Street Fighter video game, but I think they nailed Eddie Brock in general. The buzz cut is fantastic. I like the change of the hair. Huge bushy eyebrows, spot on, and you can actually see kind of individual strands sculpted in there. They did a nice job with the paint. A little too tan, but I feel like he was always tan in the comics. And then they added some of that red shading and almost a start of a stubble at the bottom. So I do like it. It's just... maybe it's his expression. But then the transformation one, which essentially is the same sculpt with the Venom on top of it. This, I like we talked about, that's never been done before in this method. But it's not for me. But I still think they did a good job. It's just essentially a Venom head layering on top of Eddie Brock head, which is technically what the Symbiote does. All right. McFarlane number 1, I believe. Looks good. Reminds me a lot of other customs I've had, or maybe XM. I like that the teeth are white. They use the blue shadowing on top of the white eye on the outsides, which you typically see. I think all these have that. I believe the other McFarlane here. Here, they made the very sharp, pointy teeth with the classic smile, and they're quite a bit more brown and yellow. Some of the tongues I pulled out, but so this one, I do like the saliva drip. You know, I don't like green, I don't like white, so I think this is nice, something different. I'm glad they didn't do this to every single one. But this is technically what it would look like if you tried to go with the clear resin. But the tongue itself is done really good. You can see the veins in it. It's a translucent resin. I like that. Again, kind of the browning of the teeth. I like the eyes on this one. And the striations on the around the mouth, I think, look really good. And the Venom skin on all of them, you can really see those highlights of blue. See it all over him as well, which we're going to look at. Keep forgetting which ones we've looked at. So this one right here, again, tiny teeth. The eyes protruding the back of the head like you typically see on this portrait. Looks good. The gums. Nice moist effect and even some red in there. And I think all of them have that. That looks really good. Then the vampire one, as I call him. Again, same comments about the teeth. Tongue looks great. All the tongues look great. Really good job on the paint on this. I'm really impressed. And then the Bagley right up here, which is my favorite. I like wider teeth because that's how he's portrayed on Lethal Protector. But this still looks good. And again, some great detail on the tongue. Now, Venom's body itself, it's pretty normal. I do like the blue that they added. The musculature, the anatomy looks really good. I think that it's not over-muscularized. You know, Venom overemphasizes what Eddie Brock has, and Eddie Brock was a bodybuilder. Something I'm not digging is the Stay Puft Marshmallow like symbol. I don't know if it's because it's so white and there's no blue or brown in there, or maybe it's the fact that it's on top of the striations on his body. So I can't tell if it's a paint or sculpt issue, but I'm not feeling this logo at all. I'd say it's the one negative thing about this statue. Just looks too marshmallowy. But they did do a great job with the veins in between the blues and the blacks. I really like his nails. So they decided to keep his nails out of the costume. And let me try and focus on them here. They're a black, brownish. They almost look like enamel, so I think they did a really nice job. Maybe his toenails I can get a better focus on. Kind of difficult. There we go. That looks great. Not sure why they went with the color they did on the base, but again, like we talked about a little bit, I like it because it's different. And it's painted really well. I just don't know if bright green is the color I would go to, so that's more of an artistic direction thing than an execution of the paint. You still see a bunch of styrofoam from the factory. I need to clean this off. And the sculpt in it is pretty nice too. It's not super intricate, but it's what it needs to be. I mean, your attention isn't going there at all, but I think they could have stepped it up a little bit on the base, made it a little bit more ornate, a little fancier detail. But overall, some really good things. But the concept, I think that's really what this takes the cake with. So I think the Venom symbol is more the sculpt than it is the paint. So I'm going to grade the things I don't like about that with sculpt. But paint, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give the paint a solid 4 out of 5. Like I said, even though I disagree with the choice of the green color down here, it's done well. Sculpt, that Venom symbol is really bothering me, but the rest is really good. I like some of these portraits. I'm still going to give it a 4 out of 5 on sculpt. I really like this. I think they did a nice job. Now, is it worth it? Before you decide if you want to drop some money on this, which I don't think you can because it's sold out, I have a big announcement. You're going to see me whore this out a little bit. I'm going to be at the ROC Toy Hunt in Rochester, New York on the 3rd and 4th of December. So it's for comics and statues and toys and Funko Pops. I'm very excited to be there. If you guys missed it, we had an awesome time in Vegas. You can check out this video right here. But check out that event. It's really cheap to get in. So if you're in driving distance or you just want to fly there for the weekend, Mr. X will be hanging out. Unless you're a weirdo, don't come. But I have a link in the description below. It's not an affiliate link or anything. I just want to see you guys there. So make sure to check that out. While this is awesome, it's sold out. Don't spend your money on that. Go to the event instead. However, this did cost $1,300 plus a few $100 shipping. They made 60 of these. So while that's a low edition size, there's tons of custom Venom options out there. And most people aren't like me. They don't want a whole wall of Venoms, even though you should because it's freaking awesome. But I think this is truly unique, and I think it's one that's going to stay in my collection. You know, one thing we didn't talk about, I like that he's high. because he can be behind some other statues and you can still get full view of him, because the base to me isn't that important. So I think the value is a 3 out of 5. I think I could get my money back on this guy, especially with all the different portrait options and how unique this is. I think that's pretty cool. But I don't think I'd make a profit on him by any means. Now, does he have the X factor? Is he a 5 out of 5 statue? Will he get lost in the other Venoms? I'm not going to give him a 5 out of 5. I think there's, just looking right there, I have 5 or 6 Venom statues. They're right there on that wall. And there's at least 3 that I like better than him, although I do really like him. But I'm still going to give him a 4. I think they did some really cool things. That pose is awesome. The different options are very cool. 4 out of 5 statue for sure. Better than average. What do you like best about this statue? Do you like the unique pose? Do you like how he's sitting on the edge? Do you like the different portrait options? Do you like the stackable base? Do you like the very good paint? Throw that down in the comments below. I love to read your comments. I love to interact with you guys. And you could win a statue with that. We will be giving all of these statues away, plus additional ones at every 5,000 subscriber milestone. To win one of these statues, all you have to do is make sure you've liked this video, you've subscribed to the channel, you've hit that bell notification, and then just drop a comment below. Every 5,000 subscriber milestone, we are going to do a random drawing and pick a random comment and give one of these statues away, plus some additional ones I'm not showing right now. The more videos you comment on, the higher your chances are to win. Once again, I really thank you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I mean that every single time. Check out the ROC Toy Hunt and Comic Hunt. The link is in the description. I'll talk to you guys soon. In the meantime, please drop me a like. It's free, easy. Take care.